Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Regulation G, VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring a really strong Calyrex Shadow Rider team. This team finished in the top 4 of the Los Angeles Regional Championships, which was the last regionals of the Regulation G format this season, and it features a unique Calyrex set with Covert Cloak, as well as Calm Mind, Fairy Tera, and Draining Kiss. The idea is that this Calyrex can survive for longer periods of time, especially when you have Fake Out support from Incineroar, Grassy Terrain support from Rillaboom, and Friend Guard and Follow Me support from Clefairy. Calyrex then can get a couple boosts up with Calm Mind, and once it starts getting damage off and getting knockouts, it also will be able to further increase its special attack, and it can heal back so much of its HP through Draining Kiss. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, would really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there is also a really in-depth team report on YouTube by the original creator, Adi, on his YouTube channel. I've linked that down in the description below, and I highly recommend you watch it to learn about how the team came together, how to use it, and all the nuances behind it. Like I mentioned, this is a balanced Calyrex Shadow Rider team that's very heavily centered around enabling Calyrex, and you have so many tools to help enable it. Speed control from Electro Web Raging Bolt, Fake Out support from Incineroar, Taunt from Urshifu to stop things like Amoonguss from putting Calyrex to sleep, Rillaboom for the Grassy Terrain, and then Clefairy with Friend Guard, as well as Follow Me, Helping Hand, and Sing. Clefairy in particular is a really awesome support Pokemon for Calyrex. It's able to reduce the damage that Calyrex takes, and able to increase its damage output through Helping Hand. Sing is a move that is highly volatile, but when it connects, it can just instantly win you games as well, and Clefairy is a Pokemon that's really bulky, so you'll often have the chance to click Sing multiple times throughout the course of a game. This team also has a lot of offense from things like Choice Band Rillaboom, Assault Vest Raging Bolt with Draco Meteor, as well as Urshifu with Stellar Tera. Just for some quick context, like I mentioned, this team finished in the top 4 of the Los Angeles Regional Championships, which took place at the end of May and had over 600 players competing in it. It was the final regionals of the Regulation G format for the 2024 season, and there were some really interesting meta developments. Going into this format, Calyrex Shadow Rider was seen as the #1 restricted Pokemon by a lot of people. And so a lot of people actually went out of their way to counter Calyrex Shadow Rider, especially for the first couple of major tournaments. And so Calyrex Shadow Rider actually underperformed in the first couple of majors. For example, Indianapolis Regionals was the first major tournament of the format, and there wasn't a single Calyrex Shadow Rider in the top 8. As the metagame progressed, people then started countering other things like Miraidon, which had a really shocking performance at Indy Regionals, and people realized, okay, you know what, I think Calyrex is still really good. And so Calyrex was notably able to win this entire tournament on a team that looks quite similar to the one that we're using, just with Tornadus and Over Raging Bolt, and some pretty notable differences in terms of movesets. Adi, of course, finished in 4th place here using a more balanced as Calyrex team, and if you scroll down, there are a couple of other players that also had Calyrex within the top 32, including here in 12th place, for example, and in 18th place. And so Calyrex is still really, really good. There are a lot of different ways that people are using it right now. Some people, for example, like to use the Covert Cloak set. The set that actually won the entire tournament was a Nasty Plot set, which Spell Tag, for example. And so there isn't just one right way to use Calyrex, and I think it's interesting because even though it's generally straightforward in terms of how you might want to use it in terms of moveset, there's a lot of different nuances behind partners, what item you want to use, as well as what Terra type and what kind of that 4th flex move you want on it is. And so, yeah, just wanted to provide some context, but Calyrex is basically now rising back to the top, especially at this tournament. Breaking down each individual Pokemon, the first one to highlight is Calyrex Shadow Rider. Now, this Calyrex Shadow Rider is more setup oriented with Calm Mind as well as Covert Cloak. The idea is that it can get a lot of boosts either through Calm Mind or through your ability when you get knockouts, and with Draining Kiss and Fairy Tera, you can heal back significant amounts of HP as well. So while Calyrex Shadow Rider isn't the bulkiest restricted Pokemon, you can spend a couple turns setting up and then start healing back up with Draining Kiss while also snowballing your special attack stat and then dealing massive amounts of damage with Astral Barrage. Covert Cloak is a really valuable item to help out against random stat drops from things like Icy Wind, as well as Electro Web and Snarl, and it's just really good utility on Calyrex. If you want to learn what these specific EV spreads do, by the way, I highly recommend you check out Adi's team report for this team, but some of the main calcs that you should know, first of all, this Calyrex is designed to outspeed max speed Miraidon and things that speed creep it by just a little bit, for example. You've also got a lot of bulk in HP and defense. This is really valuable in surviving Surging Strikes and Rain against Urshifu. You can also also take 2 Glacial Lances from Calyrex Ice Rider when Clefairy is out on the field and has Friend Guard next to Calyrex. And so those are some of the main calcs to know for this. But the general idea behind this Calyrex is that you want to stay on the field for a long time. And sometimes you can even go down to, 20, 25% of HP. But then if you fully set up Calyrex, you got a couple boosts off, and then you go for something like a Helping Hand, Fairy Tera, Draining Kiss, you can heal back so much of that HP immediately. Since Draining Kiss recovers 75% of the damage that you deal, which is amazing. To support the Calyrex, you've got Clefairy here. Now, Clefairy is a really awesome support Pokemon because of Friend Guard, which reduces the amount of damage that your ally Pokemon takes. And so this is really nice because Calyrex is not the bulkiest Pokemon, right? So this allows you to just go with something like Clefairy and Calyrex immediately and just go for something like Follow Me into Calm Mind, Helping Hand afterwards into Astral Barrage or Fairy Tera, Draining Kiss, for example. Clefairy also has Sing, which is a 55% accurate attack. Obviously, that is not very accurate in VGC, but when you're using a Pokemon like Clefairy that's going to stay on the field for a long period of time, a move like Sing makes a lot of sense because there just isn't really anything else that's like super valuable that you could be running, right? You're not going to really deal any damage with a base 60 special attack. Some people consider Moonblast, for example, just as a way to chip things, but I think Sing is really nice because it's one of those moves where you can click when you just don't have really anything better to do, and even though it's going to miss a lot when you do connect with this move, it is so annoying for your opponent to deal with. You've got max HP and max defense here, and this is particularly valuable into physical attackers like Calyrex Ice Rider, as well as Zamazenta with Heavy Slam, for example. You also have a pretty classic core of Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Urshifu, but some of these sets are fairly unique. The Incineroar here is very standard: Safety Gauge, Ghost Tera, Will-O-Wisp, Parting Shot, Fake Out, Knockoff. You don't have Flare Blitz. A lot of people have been dropping Flare Blitz on instants recently. The Safety Gauge Will-O-Wisp combination is just really good into Calyrex Ice Rider teams in particular, and so that is the main reason you've got this combo. The Urshifu here is really cool because you're Stellar Tera, and you also have Taunt with Focus Sash. This is pretty different from the sets that people have generally seen with like Mystic Water, for example, or Choice Scarf. And the idea behind this is, first of all, Stellar Tera is awesome in closing out games, and this is particularly valuable against Terapagos. Terapagos is a Pokemon that obviously is really annoying for Calyrex to deal with because it's normal typing, and so Calyrex is not going to do very much into it. It's going to do nothing into it with Astral Barrage, and Draining Kiss is barely able to dent it as well. So Urshifu becomes one of your primary win conditions against Terapagos, where you're able to just go for close combat. Now, the downside is a lot of Terapagoses are EV to survive close combat, so when you add that Stellar Tera on top, you're able to just end games where you outspeed Terapagos and then just get a close combat to just immediately eliminate it. Focus Sash is really important on Urshifu because there are a lot of things that just threaten it for a one-hit knockout that are faster than it, like Flutter Mane as well as Miraidon, for example. And Taunt is an amazing support move on this Urshifu, which helps out in particular against things like Amoonguss and can just really shut your opponent down. And so I generally find that I don't miss Aqua Jet, and I find that Taunt is just such a nice move to have. You also have Choice Band Rillaboom on this team. The idea behind Choice Band Rillaboom is that this just improves your matchup into Miraidon, and of course just gives you strong burst damage. Miraidon in particular can be annoying to deal with because it sets up the electric terrain, and so having Rillaboom to just counteract that terrain and pressure with a lot of immediate damage while also resisting electric type attacks is really nice. The final Pokemon on this team is Raging Bolt. Assault Vest Raging Bolt is really cool because it's able to soak up damage and also disrupt opposing teams. This is max speed, which is particularly valuable when you're going up against those max speed Miraidons, or I should say modest max speed Miraidons, because then you're able to just drop their speed with an Electro Web and then catch them off guard and outpace them with the Draco Meteor in the subsequent turn. Otherwise, you just have a lot of HP and special attack investment here, and the main thing to call out with Raging Bolt here is instead of running Dragon Pulse, which a lot of people like, you're running Draco Meteor. Of course, the downside is once you use Draco Meteor for the first time, you're going to be a lot weaker, but this Draco Meteor is really valuable and able to just get one-hit knockouts onto things that otherwise would get two-hit KO'd by Dragon Pulse, for example. And then you've got triple electric type attacks here. Thunderbolt and Thunderclap are self-explanatory. Electro Web is really valuable for speed control on this team and also does meaningful damage into things that it hits for super effective. So a lot of different ways that you can play with the team. I think some modes to consider. Adi had mentioned in his team report he really liked Clefairy Raging Bolt as a lead, where you can disrupt early, get some damage off, and also put things to sleep with Sing. You can go with something like Clefairy plus Calyrex Shadow Rider, where you just have Follow Me or Sing Pressure as you start Calm Minding up. You can go Incineroar plus Calyrex, where you have Fake Out into Calm Mind immediately. You can go Urshifu with Incineroar, which just has Fake Out Pressure into Surging Strikes immediately, for example. If you want a really offensive lead, like any combination of Rilla, Ursh, Bolt, and Calyrex applies like double offense because you have two Pokemon that can deal a lot of damage. And so those are all things to consider as well. In terms of weaknesses, I think there are a couple of things that Calyrex Shadow Rider has to watch out for. First of all, normal type Pokemon and normal Teras can be fairly annoying to deal with because, of course, you are just completely immune to Astral Barrage. You also have to worry about Draining Kiss actually dealing enough damage to secure knockouts. I've had a fair number of games where I expect Draining Kiss to get a knockout, but it doesn't, even with Fairy Tera and a boost, and that's because it's just pretty weak in terms of base power, and then my opponent is able to retaliate back for a knockout. Calyrex itself is obviously weak to Dark and Ghost type attacks as well, and so often you're going to feel pressure to Tera in order to deal with those attacks, but if you Tera, that obviously opens up new weaknesses as well. So I've had opponents who have a Steel type Pokemon or Steel type attack on their team where they force my Tera out early and then use said Pokemon in order to deal with Calyrex. You also have to really be careful against Wide Guard users like Pelipper as well as Zamazenta when using Calyrex because of course you're just kind of blocked from using Astral Barrage. So Pelipper, Calyrex, Ice Rider teams, for example, can be a little bit annoying if they play really well with Wide Guard because they just protect themselves from getting hit by the Astral Barrage, for example. So those are a couple things that the Calyrex in particular wants to watch out for. I find like Clefairy can feel completely useless and neutralized if your opponent has a taunt user, and in closed team sheet best of one on the ladder, for example, that can be particularly annoying when you don't know if your opponent's Whimsicott or Tornadus or Incineroar have taunt, for example. Taunt is something that can really heavily shut this down, and then you're often forced to make the decision, do you want to just stay in and struggle, or do you want to switch out and then risk whatever switches in taking a lot of damage as well? That's one thing I've run into. This Rillaboom is unique because it's a Choice Band Grass Terra set, which is great offensively, but it's not great defensively. So what this means is you're really going to struggle against Pokemon that can hit you for super effective attacks. Chi-Yu in particular is a Pokemon that I've struggled a lot against with this Rillaboom because you can't go for like a Fire, Water, or just any defensive Terra to get around it, and there's no Fake Out as well, right? So you're just threatened by getting hit by a Heat Wave and getting one hit knocked out, for example. Raging Bolt here is triple electric type attack, and so you might struggle a little bit against Pokemon that resist or are just completely immune to electric type attacks. And yeah, those are just a couple of things that I wanted to note that I've run into. All right, we've got an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider team here with Hands, Amoonguss, Urshifu, Tornadus, Chien-Pao. It's a lot of the Pokemon that won the World Championships this last year, actually, with Calyrex Shadow Rider. So, what do we want to do here? Banded Rillaboom is interesting. Like, it can do some funky things where I can Grass Terra, Helping Hand, Grassy Glide, for example. I think Instant is a must bring here. Calyrex is a must bring. Debating the viability of Bolt. Like, I think one lead we can definitely go with here is just Instant plus Calyrex. I'm mainly thinking about Urshifu because it has Focus Sash. But I think Clefairy Bolt also works in the back here. I'm down with this. Basically, the idea behind this lead is I have Fake Out. I have Calm Mind Pressure immediately. I think if we can get a Calm Mind before our opponent's Calyrex attacks, that's a really big deal. Fairy Tera is going to be very valuable for us here on Calyrex as well. Raging Bolt is nice for potential speed control later on in the battle. But I think we definitely could have dropped Bolt for Urshifu going into this game. Both feel viable. It's Calyrex Amoonguss, which I'm more than okay with. Turn 1 here is interesting. I think I lean towards wanting to go Fake Out, Fairy Tera, Calm Mind. And just get a boost up to start. Alternatively, I could just go for, say, Knockoff or Parting Shot onto their Calyrex. Like, I think a different option here is Parting Shot into Calyrex, Protect here, bring out Clefairy. And then I can Grass Terra Clefairy. But then that feels kind of bad. Okay, I lean more towards the Fake Out option. Fake Out, Terra here, Calm Mind. So we're going to Terra, okay. They're not going to Terra. One of the other questions is what kind of Calyrex set are they, right? Are you Focus Sash? Do you have Nasty Plot? Life Orb? Covert Cloak? Lefty, Citrus, so many options. Okay, so I'm actually going to Terra first here. And they're going to Terra Amoonguss into water. Okay, that works for me. If you're going for this, I would think your Calyrex is protecting then, but let's see. Nice. Oh, this is beautiful for us. Amazing. That could not have played out any better. We bait out a Tera, and I get a Calm Mind off. Okay, your Rocky Helmet. Good to confirm that. And Calm Mind number 1 comes out. Perfect. Yeah, just even a single Calm Mind boost is amazing for us here. And now that you don't have a defensive Tera, it should put us into a really good spot. Because I can just go for knockoff now into Amoonguss and Astral Barrage. So Amoonguss probably protects here, but even if I protect, or even if it protects, what is their Calyrex going to do at this point, right? I have the Calm Mind boost, and I've Terra'd. So that turn 1 alone should put us into a phenomenal position. Their Calyrex is going to switch out. I'm thinking you maybe bring out Shampoo here, but it's going to be Tornadus, which is totally fine. Cool. We get this +1 Astral Barrage off now. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that just knocks out Tornadus, and knockoff should just knock out the Amoonguss as well. So now we're at +2 special attack. Beautiful. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you play a little bit passively against this team, even one Calm Mind turn can just allow the team to snowball immediately out of control. We got a critical hit onto Amoonguss there, but it was at just over 25%, so I think knockoff would have gotten the knockout there. So we get rid of the Amoonguss. We're up 4-2. They don't have speed control via Tornadus. Chien-Pao comes out. Calyrex is obviously the last one, and they've already committed their Tera. So with this, what do we want to do? We've got Draining Kiss, which is obviously really good. They can't Tera. I think I'm fine to just click knockoff here and Draining Kiss. Let's actually think about it. The way for them to win would be to probably protect Calyrex here and double up. Like, go for an Ice type attack onto me here. Yeah, I think going for knockoff here and Draining Kiss is fine, though. Okay, they get the Astral Barrage off first here. But that's fine, right? Yeah, I'm just going to be able to heal up into Chien-Pao and go back to full. Yep. I'm mainly curious about the item on their Calyrex. Because it's not Focus Sashed. That didn't look like Choice Specs damage. I mean, it's obviously not Specs. It had Protect. So it might be Covert Cloak. And they're going to go for Sacred Sword onto Ensign. But now I can just bring out Clefairy. And I can just go for Follow Me Astral Barrage to pick up a double knockout. Cool. So yeah, I think like this game was basically just one off turn 1 alone. My opponent committed a Tera. I was able to get a Calm Mind off, and then so they just didn't have as much offensive pressure. And then with the Calm Mind boost, we just were able to snowball out of control. So yeah, Follow Me here and Astral Barrage. Follow Me here just prevents something like Sucker Punch crit, Astral Barrage crit, double up onto Calyrex. I think even if you were to crit your Astral Barrage here, it's totally fine. And our Astral Barrage now should just pick up the double knockout. Yep, you can see with that special defense boost and with Friend Guard, our Calyrex just takes no damage, essentially. Our Astral Barrage comes out now, and it gets the double KO. Beautiful. Now, one of the big things about Calm Mind here is that it gets you the special defense boost, right? And so I think, like, sometimes people play a little bit passively against Calyrex, and being able to get a defensive and offensive boost at the same time can go a really, really long way in feeling confident with this. And so, yeah, I think turn 1, basically, my opponent, if they did anything else with Calyrex, especially if they had something like Nasty Plot, it could have gotten a little bit spooky, but they didn't get any damage off, and we were able to set up for free and commit the Tera from Amoonguss, which meant doubling onto Amoonguss next turn was really safe. And so even if Amoonguss had protected there, like Astral Barrage would have just knocked out Tornadus, as we saw. So they would have needed to switch into Chien-Pao and probably protect with Amoonguss. That maybe would have given them the best chance, because then your Chien-Pao maybe threatens the Incineroar the subsequent turn with the Sacred Sword. I think if they had done that, then I'd probably just protect my Calyrex and then just hard switch or Parting Shot with Incineroar to try to get Clefairy out. And then with Clefairy out, I can just help me hand Astral Barrage and clean up the game. But yeah, a single Calm Mind boost meant that we were able to just sweep with Calyrex in this one. All right, this team looks familiar. We are up against Regidrago Zacian. I actually just featured this team on the channel. This team finished in the top 16 of the Los Angeles Regional Championships. Really, really fun stuff. So if you want to see me play with the team, check out the video down in the description below. Basically, you've got a lot of things that can be super disruptive. Zacian just does a lot of damage in itself as well. Choice Scarf Chi-Yu, and then Regidrago just does a ton as well. So the upside for us is that we have Fairy Tera Calyrex, and so that in itself gives Regidrago a really difficult time. So I definitely want to bring Calyrex. Incin is a must against Zacian as well. Urshifu is interesting here because of Surging Strikes into Chi-Yu. I think one possible lead is just Incin plus Calyrex here, though. Clefairy in the back. The last one is interesting. Like, I think we could make an argument for all three. Banded Rillaboom, I think I like the least out of those. Urshifu is compelling. Bolt is going to struggle if Zacian ends up going for Ground Terra. So, I'm actually going to go with Urshifu here. I think being able to just have the Focus Sash and survive a hit and retaliate back is a big deal. This also gives me the potential to taunt into Amoonguss. But to me, I think Calyrex has to be the star of this game. So, we're going to want to really heavily center around it. The main thing to watch out for is getting baited into going for Fairy Tera and then getting dunked on by Zacian's Behemoth Blade, right? Because if you're my opponent, one lead you could go with is something like Whimsicott Regidrago turn 1 to bait out the Terra and then bring out Zacian and Behemoth Blade me. So, that's some food for thought. And there it is, Whimsicott Drago, yep. Okay. So, against this, I think Ghost Terra coming out immediately from Drago makes some sense. The safest play to me, in my opinion, is to fake out into Whimsicott turn 1 here. I think there's a good chance they actually double protect on turn 1 to bypass fake out. So the question is whether or not I want to commit my Terra here immediately. Because if I do, then I suddenly become weak to Zacian, and that becomes a little bit spooky. I could see them going for like Ghost Terra here and then just trying to attack into me. I think I personally don't mind fake out Terra Calm Mind. In an ideal world here, I'd say they just double protect because then I just get the Calm Mind up. And then what I'm going to do the next turn is just switch Incineroar out into Clefairy. And then like Protect or Draining Kiss or Astral Barrage. Okay, Whimsicott protects. Drago doesn't protect, so I would think you're double protecting here, but let's see. Okay, yeah, perfect. So I get Calm Mind, which is excellent. The downside is I committed my Terra for this, but I honestly think it's fine. Now you're probably going to want to just Tailwind, but like I said, the key thing here is that I get this Calm Mind up. And what this allows me to do is just Astral Barrage and Parting Shot now. I guess you could theoretically like Tailwind and then like Draco Meteor. So maybe I just actually hard switch Incin into Clef here. I like that more actually. And Astral Barrage. Because we don't want to lose Incineroar. I think losing Incineroar would be really bad given that I have the... know that they should have the Zacian in the back from their end of the field. So now this just gives me double resistance, or immunity, I should say, to Dragon-type attacks. Because I would go Tailwind Draco into Incin here. Or Dragon Energy. Cool. Yep, and unfortunately for the opposing team, going up against two Fairy types is basically the biggest nightmare you're going to run into. This could have been an interesting opportunity to Calm Mind up again, by the way. Oh, this is actually great. Drago ends up surviving, which is awesome for us. Yeah, like Drago is just in such a bad spot right now, right? So I can actually just go for Sing into this slot. And Astral Barrage. I could also double protect this turn, but I like the idea of punishing any switches potentially. Another Calm Mind is actually interesting as well. Yeah, essentially, they're just in such a bad spot right now that they want me to take knockouts, right? So I'm actually down to go for Sing and Calm Mind again. I mean, the question is whether or not we need the second Calm Mind. I think with another Calm Mind, Astral Barrage just one-shots everything. But I think it's fine to just, yeah, go for Astral Barrage. Okay, we're just going to Moonblast here. That's fine. And Terra Blast, yep. And now we get a double knockout. Well, actually, we don't get a double knockout because Life Orb, yeah. See, I think like this turn was interesting because basically I thought about intentionally like not doing any damage to stall to turn a Tailwind and stagger things a little bit. I think it's fine because like now I'm at +2 special attack, +1 special defense. I can just protect Calyrex, switch Clefairy out into Incineroar for an Intimidate, and then fake out Astral Barrage, for example. Okay, so we know they have Zacian in the back. That's not surprising. I'm mainly curious if it's Ogre or Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu. Okay, cool. I'd rather see Chi-Yu than Ogre here, because this means Incineroar is a super safe switch in right now. Beautiful. So let's bring out Incin right now. Just double check the board state. 2 turns to Tailwind. So we bring out Incin. We protect here. Incin, protect is fine. Yeah. The way we would lose this is if they knock out Incin here, but even a Sacred Sword plus Heat Wave double up should not get the KO. And I think with that, then you can't win the game. You would need a crit Sacred Sword right now. Like, I think double crit into the Incin slot is how they have a chance of winning. Without that, I think the game is just over. Yep, they go for Heat Wave here. Our Incin should tank that. Beautiful. And they Behemoth Blade into the Calyrex. Beautiful. So now I can just go for Fake Out into Zacian. It's the last turn of Tailwind from their end. So Fake Out plus Astral Barrage here is fine. Zacian should protect. Chi-Yu is Ghost Terra here, so we don't want to go for anything fancy here. Just fake out Zacian, make sure they can't attack this turn, and then, yeah, they end up forfeiting here. So, we had a huge advantage here because we, one, had used the team that my opponent had played with, right? And so knowing the Regidrago set in itself was a big deal. And then having Clefairy plus Fairy Tera Calyrex is just like the worst nightmare for Regidrago and just completely invalidates it. And so we were able to, you know, get this free Calm Mind up and then just start dealing massive amounts of damage. And so the combination of Incineroar and Clefairy can be really difficult for that team to deal with in the end game because Zacian is really powerful, but you don't want to take negative trades with it, right? So, like, I'm happy to sacrifice Clefairy, use Follow Me, and then lose it in order to get a big Astral Barrage off into Zacian. So, yeah, I think in this game, we just had a really safe lead of Incin plus the Calyrex, and having Fairy Tera just to cover for Regidrago was a really big deal. So, something that could have been a little bit spookier to go up against, for example, would have been... I think, like, if Zacian were to switch in on turn 1, that could have been scary. Chi-Yu also offers a little bit of pressure, right? Because you can Dark Pulse into me. So something like Chi-Yu plus Zacian is interesting because you pressure Dark Pulse. And if I Terra, then you can just Behemoth Blade with Zacian, right? But I think with Whimsicott Drago, we were able to just use the Fairy types fully to our advantage. All right. We've got Miraidon here with Whimsicott, Blood Moon, Ogre, Chi-Yu, and Farigiraf. So Rillaboom is essential into Miraidon, but they've got Chi-Yu, which can be a little bit scary for us. We've got Focus Sash on the Urshifu. AV, Raging Bolt, I think also necessary here. We're Grass Tower with Clefairy, which can be interesting against Miraidon as well. Generally into Miraidon, I like leading Rillaboom immediately. I think I'm intrigued by something like Rillaboom plus Calyrex. Bolt in the back. Huh, Urshifu is actually compelling here. I mean, Clef just gives me redirection. I don't think we want Incin in this matchup. Fake Out doesn't even really work as well because they have Farigiraf. So it's Urshifu or Clef as the final one. I mean, Urshifu's damage here is pretty nasty, and I think having Sash also makes it interesting. But Clef just allows me to tank hits a little bit better. Sing, however, becomes less effective with Miraidon on their side of the field. I really think you can make a good argument for either. But I think I need more offense in this game because they have double normal types with Farigiraf as well as Blood Moon. So I'm going to go with Urshifu. My fear is if I kind of index too heavily onto Calyrex, then the dual normals makes it hard for me to just, you know, snowball the game with Calyrex. And I'm not sure how important Clefairy redirection really is for us in this one, or Friend Guard. And I think Sing is already not very reliable, but when you add the fact that your opponent has Electric Train, it makes it even harder. Maybe Chi-Yu or Saluna lead. Okay. So I do not have a defensive Tera here on Rillaboom. I'm leaning towards just like wanting to Calm Mind immediately. I could switch into Bolt right now. So many interesting things that can happen here. Like, I think a Frigoraph switch in here would make some sense for my opponent. Thinking about ban Grassy Glide here, Tera defensively, Calm Mind. They stay in with both. Okay. They also are going to Tera the Chi-Yu. So it's Choice Scarfed into Ghost. Okay, amazing. I think this is a really good turn 1 for us, given that they're staying in. Knowing that you're Scarfed is also a really big deal, because I assume if you're doing this, you're trying to just Dark Pulse me. Yeah, this now means Draining Kiss is looking really good. But if I lose Rillaboom on turn 1, then it does mean that they have Miraidon in the late game, which is a little bit spooky. Ooh, Glide does a lot, but it doesn't get the KO there. Okay, they're just going to go for Heat Wave here. We are going to get a dodge there with the Calyrex, which is actually very lucky as Rillaboom faints. Especially if they went for Blood Moon here. That would have been a huge dodge, actually. Because it means now I should survive Blood Moon, I would imagine. Okay, they just went for Hyper Voice. So, even if Heat Wave... Well, would Heat Wave done more than half there? Or may have. Either way, now I know that you're locked into Heat Wave. I can go out into either Bolt or Urshifu. I'm going to want a Draining Kiss for sure with Calyrex. I think it's fine to go out into the Bolt right now. Yeah. I guess the awkward thing about bringing Bolt here is I don't have Dragon Pulse. I'd actually have to click Draco Meteor into Ursaluna, which doesn't feel great. But I like conserving the Focus Sash on Ursh. So I'm going to Draco and Draining Kiss into Chi-Yu here. I could have gone Astral Barrage and Draco as well, but I think the recovery right now into Calyrex is actually really important. So, yeah. That turn 1 could have been really spooky. And the Heat Wave missing just means that I can attack more freely with Calyrex, whereas I'd have to play more defensively if it connected initially. So, yeah, we survive. Now I get a huge Draining Kiss off. It's not going to get the knockout, but that's totally okay, right? We're looking to just heal back significant amounts of HP here. Yeah, look how much we heal. Draco connects. Cool. That eliminates the Ursaluna. Great. And the grassy terrain from Rillaboom is also really valuable right now and just healing back up. Cool. So let's see what they bring out. I think Miraidon makes sense. They're actually going to bring out Whimsicott. Interesting. Huh, I'm really surprised to see that, but it means they're clearly setting up for a Miraidon endgame. Given that, I think we can definitely just click Electro Web here and Astral Barrage. Yeah, they Tailwind, but you just lose both Pokemon here, so I don't think Miraidon can 1v3 since we have Focus Sash on Urshifu. That's why it was really important to bring Ursh into this matchup. You can see how valuable a single Calm Mind boost is, right? It goes such a long way in surviving these special attacks. So, nice. We get the knockout onto Chi-Yu. Whimsicott brought down to 1. Miraidon should be your last one, and then Urshifu will be able to take an attack and just Surging Strikes. Also, Assault Raging Bolt is just one of the best answers into Miraidon, right? So I think the Pokemon choice we made in this game was fine. We don't miss Electro Web, which is perfect. But like I said, yeah, we got lucky in this game that we, one, they missed Heat Wave on turn 1, and 2, if they just went Blood Moon instead of Hyper Voice, that also could have been really bad for us. So, turn 1 was really volatile in this game. I'm not sure if I love how I played it. I think it's a little bit spooky because, like, in this matchup, we just don't know if there is a Frigoraph in the back. And, like, I didn't necessarily need a Tera Calyrex. So, yeah, Miraidon's the last one. Oh, interesting. It's actually Seed? Electric Seed Miraidon. Okay, you don't see that every day. That's fine, though. You already committed your Terra. We've got Ursh in the back. I mean, I can just Draco Meteor you. And Draining Kiss. Okay, they just offer Dazzling Gleam. I don't even think that KO's Calyrex, yeah. And then Draining Kiss here probably just gets the KO in return. Super effective. Boosted. +1. Yeah, nice. But I do think the Chiyu Blood Moon lead was really smart by my opponent in this game, and if Heat Wave just connects on turn 1, then the game looks differently. Unfortunately, the downside of using Chiyu in this format is that you have to hit your inaccurate attacks. Heat Wave, Overheat, Snarl can all miss, and so that's one of the, biggest downfalls to Chiyu. If its moves were 100% accurate, the Pokemon would just be so good, and it still is good despite having a lot of moves I can miss. And so I'm trying to think how it would respond again if I were to play this, because I think the other question is like not 100% knowing that they're going to be Choice Scarf Chiyu in team preview, right? And so against Scarf Chiyu plus Blood Moon in particular, yeah, it's tough because Rillaboom doesn't have a defensive Terra. I could have just gone Grass Terra, like I said, just to knock out Blood Moon on turn 1 and Calm Mind, but that's like really risky, right? Because let's say they just Dark Pulse us instead of Heat Waving, we just lose the game immediately on the spot. So it doesn't feel like a risk that's like necessary to take immediately to start the battle. So yeah, I don't know. I think Blood Moon Chiyu in general, like Scarf Chiyu, can be really spooky for this team. And so Clefairy could have been led, but then what am I really doing, right? I have Friend Guard, but that's basically it. And then they have a lot more offense than me. Urshifu lead, actually, I think would have been really nice, because Ursh has Focus Sash, so something like Ursh Calyrex, I think, could have been really powerful, where I can just go for close combat, or like Surging Strikes, Draining Kiss, for example, onto the Blood Moon slot on turn 1. And so I think, yeah, if I wanted to think of an adjustment specifically to beat Scarf Chiyu plus the Blood Moon, I would look towards the Urshifu being led. Alright, we've got Terapagos here with Ursh, Amoonguss, Flutter, Torn Chiyu. This is basically the default Terapagos team that people were using in the beginning of the format once tournament started. Against Terapagos, it's very, very important to conserve Urshifu all the way until the end game, and then like Stellar Close Combat's one way to handle Terapagos as well. So this is going to be really essential. I think I like Bolt here as well. Bolt plus Clefairy is actually one of the go-to leads with this team, and I think it could work here. It gives less pressure with Sing, which is cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. Bolt, Clef, Ursh, Calyrex. I think Rillaboom could be a strong bring for us in this one as well. Instin's okay, but like their team is generally special, so Will-O-Wisp loses less value. Or Will-O-Wisp, I should say, has less value. Intimidation's not that powerful for me. But I think Rilla could be really strong if, you know, they just lead like Fluttermane, for example. Clef Rilla could be an interesting lead, but it's the Chiyu, once again, that scares me from bringing Rilla. And it's Chiyu Flutter, okay. This is interesting. A lot of different things we can do right now. I don't mind going for Electro Web here. I'm thinking about just clicking Sing right now, honestly. Electro Web Sing into Chiyu. I think shutting down Chiyu would be huge. Like, the Flutters on these teams are, you know, generally a little bit more defensive. So they go for an Icy Wind, which is fine. I don't really care about the damage from that. Or the speed drop, really. Okay, and they just Snarl. That's totally okay. If we hit the Sing onto Chiyu, I can just switch Raging Bolt out into Clefairy, or sorry, into Calyrex this next turn, which would be huge. Like, I'm not really looking to deal damage right now. I'm looking to just disrupt my opponent, so good start. Clefairy is going to miss Sing, unfortunately, but that's just the nature of what happens when you use Sing, right? So, can't expect it to just connect like that. It's tricky, though, because I don't want to just hard switch Calyrex in right now. So I'm going to go for Electro Web again. And just Sing again. Yeah, I think if we connected on that Sing, we'd be in such a good spot. But you just can't rely on Sing to hit, basically. So they're going to Moonblast us here and get a special attack drop. That's fine. Heat Wave comes out. We survive with both. Nice. We're going to get a miss here with Electro Web as well. Okay. None of this matters to me, though, if the Sing connects. Okay, that's a little bit unlucky. Oh, man. What a couple of turns. Sing double miss, Moonblast, special attack drop, and Electro Web miss. Yeesh. Okay, I'm going to Thunderclap Chi-Yu here and protect. And what I'm trying to set up for is to bring out Calyrex and then Helping Hand Astral Barrage. I don't think Helping Hand Astral gets the KO though, but... I mean, I don't necessarily... I can also Calm Mind. I just don't want to Tera, because I want to use my Tera for Ursh with Close Combat Stellar Tera. Yeah, so now we're bringing Calyrex out. I could see Flutter switching out into Terapagos right now. You're at -1 speed. I do think I should save my Tera for Urshifu. They're probably going to Snarl. Calm Minding here is interesting. I feel kind of behind in this game, so I feel the need to make a big play or two. Like, I want to Calm Mind here. And then Sing into the Chi-Yu slot again. Flutter switches. Yep. I would expect into Terapagos right now. Yep. Okay. That's fine. That was expected. Double switch. Okay. Hey, if Sing connects here, we might just be back into it. Let's see. Into Torn. Okay, either way, I mean, getting a free Calm Mind boost when your opponent is running all special attackers is really nice. So I'll take that. That's good. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad to feature this game because it shows you the downside of Sing. It's just not a reliable move. But if any of these had connected, we'd be in such good shape. So it's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Oh, I'm not sure I can come back from that now because they get a free Tailwind as well, which is really frustrating. You can just Tailwind plus Tera Starstorm. Thinking about Calm Minding again. Calm Mind again, protect. Because I need to stall out Tailwind turns, essentially, is how I'm thinking about this right now. Yep. They didn't Tera with their Terapagos, which I find interesting. Oh, they just go for Earth Power. They've risked me clicking Sing that turn. That's wild to me. Wow. Okay. I guess I'll take it. Looks like Specs Earth Power to me, so you're going to Bleak Wind now and just Earth Power again. I think this is winnable. This is definitely winnable. Bleak Wind, Earth Power. I mean, I think I just want to Astral Barrage here. You could theoretically miss Bleak Wind onto Clef as well. So I'm going to Sing into Terapagos. Yeah, that Earth Power really confuses me. I think it should have just been Tera Starstorm. Stellar, personally. Wait, they just gave me a double knockout, right? They do have Taunt as well, which is a really big counter to Clefairy, but this is still fine, I think. Yeah. Okay. Despite missing 3 Sings in a row, we are still not in the worst shape. Double special attack boost now. I can't sing, but that's fine. It's Chiyu Terapagos in the back. So Stellar Tera Urshifu is obviously looking really good. Maybe they didn't want to break their shell, is what I'm guessing. Two turns of Tailwind left. I'm going to protect here. Is it ever protect Sacrifice Ursh so that I have Friend Guard up still? I don't think so. Okay, we get them to Terra here. Good. Yep. It's going to be Terapagos Terra. That's fine. I mean, their Chiyu, I don't think can handle... I feel like Ursh should be able to win the 1v2. So we protect. Yeah, they just Snarl. It's going to be Snarl Terra Starstorm, right? Which is fine. Because you... Tailwind is stalled out now. Yeah, I think we're okay here. Because I think Stellar Ursh should be able to end the game, which is kind of the main win con I was talking about when going into this matchup. I also think that turn, maybe I should just attack with Calyrex and with Friend Guard, hope to survive. But yeah, basically, like, last turn of Tailwind, so I can always protect with Urshifu here. Then I just Stellar Close Combat, and then Stellar Surging Strikes you. I think I might as well go for the double protect right now. Unless I think I'm surviving Snarl plus Specs Terra Starstorm. I don't think I am. Yeah, I don't think I am. So protect and detect. Okay, we don't get it, but that's fine. Ursh is the main win con in this endgame anyway. They click Heat Wave here. Okay. Maybe I actually do survive now that they clicked Heat Wave. With the Calm Mind boost, I actually feel like I should, but let's see. Either way, this has been a bizarre game. 110. I think it's still fine since we have Stellar Tera, but geez. Stellar Tera CC into you. This is a game where if I lose, I don't mind losing. It's like I went 0 for 3 on Sing. They crit our Calyrex here in the end as well. We had that special attack drop onto the Raging Bolt from Moonblast. I missed an Electro Web on a Chiyu as well. Like, there's a lot that went wrong for us here. But I think it's still fine because we have Stellar Tera CC here. Let's see. What a game, though. Yeah, the fact that I want to do the calc after this game, but I think we would have survived the Starstorm without the crit. Okay, they go for Overheat. That's fine. Oh, another one KOs me next turn, so it's actually not fine since I don't have Aqua Jet. Oh, what a bummer. Oh, okay. Because close combat will get the KO here. Yeah. Man, this was such a close game, but there's just so much that went wrong for us. I think if, like, any of the Sings connect, if we don't get crit there on that last turn as well, we should have the game won. But let me just do the calc to make sure, because I'm not 100% sure of that. Yeah, I mean, we're playing towards a miss, right? Because I don't have Aqua Jet, which sucks. If we had Aqua Jet over Tong here, we also would have won. But Overheat did a lot more than I expected there. And I dropped my defenses there as well, but I had to click Close Combat to knock out the Terapagos. It would have been such poetic justice for Overheat to have missed there in the end, but good game. Good game. I think in this game, though, I'm pretty happy with how I played overall. Like, I'm not sure I would have really changed the decision-making at any given turn, other than, actually, I think the one key turn is when I protected with Calyrex with 2 turns of Tailwind left. I think that could have been a turn for me to just click Astral Barrage. Because if my Calyrex survives the turn and I knock out Chi-Yu, then I just win the game, right? So, yeah. It was a kind of a heartbreaking game to lose, but let me do the calc from Tera Starstorm onto our Calyrex first, because I'm not sure if that crit mattered. So our Calyrex Shadow Rider had 110 HP before we got hit by Tera Starstorm, and that Tera Starstorm from max special attack, Terrapago, Switch Choice Specs, and Beads of Ruin does maximum of 106, and so we're guaranteed to survive that unless they get a critical hit. So that was an example of a game where like basically everything like could have gone wrong did go wrong. 0 for 3 on Sing and the critical hit being the main ones. Now, like I said, Sing is not the most reliable move, so you can't really be too upset about missing them. However, the odds of you at least hitting one Sing when you use it 3 times in a row is not terrible, right? The odds are very much in your favor. And so I think if any of those had connected, it would have been a huge game changer for us. And unfortunately, we just didn't connect on a single one. Even with all of that, though, we found a way to get back into the game because they ended up locking into Earth Power rather than Tera Starstorm. I think when the Terrapagos went for Starstorm or Earth Power, they could have just gone Stellar Tera and just Starstormed everything from that point onwards. And so them committing to Earth Power gave us a window of opportunity back into the game. But sometimes the game just doesn't want you to win. When you have losses like this, it's really important to just go back and evaluate, okay, like, yeah, I got really unlucky, but am I happy with all the decisions that I made? Do I think I could have brought a different Pokemon over the 4 that I selected? In this battle, I don't really think so. I'm actually really happy with the 4 that I brought. Like, I think they gave us by far the best tools to win. I don't think Incineroar or Rillaboom is really changing that matchup substantially. I think maybe if we're a Rillaboom with the defensive Tera, with Choice Band, then maybe it's worth leading, because then I have, like, an option of Rillaboom plus Clefairy, for example, but without a defensive Tera, I think Rillaboom just gets dunked on by Heat Wave, and that feels really bad. And I think Incineroar feels really useless into this matchup, given that my opponent's team is entirely special. So yeah, Pokemon choice-wise, I actually don't think I would have changed anything. Would I have mixed up the leads? I actually don't really mind the lead that I ended up going with. I think the one adjustment maybe could have been just Clefairy plus Calyrex, because that would have allowed me to just immediately Calm Mind. I could go for Fairy Tera, Calm Mind, and then like Protect with Clefairy, for example. So that is an area of improvement that I, at the time didn't go for, because obviously I led the Raging Bolt Clef lead. I don't mind Raging Bolt Clef personally, though, because I think it's really safe and covers for things like Tornadus Urshifu, which can definitely be a possible lead combo from that team as well. And then the third thing to evaluate is, were there any different turns I could have played better? The one that I am thinking about is, like I said, the turn where I went for the Protect on the second to last turn of Tailwind when I had Clefairy out on the field. Like, it may have just been better for me to just attack with Calyrex, but in my eyes, I was like, I really want to make sure that Calyrex survives the turn. That way, if I get a double Protect, then I immediately win the game, and even if I don't get the double Protect, a bunch still has to go wrong for me to lose, which ended up being the case. But yeah, sometimes that's just how Pokemon is, and I wish we could have just showcased like how good Sing is when it connects, but of course, when it's 55% accurate, you're gonna miss a fair amount of the times. But either way, I'm still relatively happy with how that game played out, because I think we had all the tools to win, and I think if just one thing goes a little bit better for us, we end up winning that game, and that's what you can be happy about even when you end up losing, if you think most of the decision making was correct. Okay, we have Toxapex, Amoonguss, Ho-Oh, Grimmsnarl, Cresselia, Ursaluna. This is really scary. Ho-Oh's definitely just going to be something that stays on the field for forever and just, like, has Regenerator. The Ursaluna is also really spooky here. What do I want to go with? Taunt Ursh seems really good here. I think I'm going to go Ursh, Calyrex, Rillaboom. Clef is interesting here. I don't love Bolt in a matchup where they have Ursaluna. I think Instinct could be good, but this feels like it's going to be a long draw-out game, and so I basically want to just like get multiple Calm Minds off with Calyrex and then like slowly stall things out and then just try to KO everything. So I'm going to lean into the top 4 of the team. To me, it's interesting because it feels like they have 2 different parts of the team. Like, one is the Grim, Ho-Oh, Toxapex component, and the other is the Crest, Amoonguss, Ursaluna core. And so like the Ho-Oh core is a lot more defensive, whereas the Ursaluna is a lot more offensive. But obviously there's a lot of synergy between the 2 cores that they have. So let's see. I think Calyrex is so important in this game, though, so we really, really have to be smart about how we're utilizing it. It's just going to be Grim Ho-Oh to start, okay. I don't mind this too much. I mean, I think you probably just go for, what, like Light Screen, Ho-Oh might Tera to start. I personally want to just get rid of Grimmsnarl if I can. Yeah, like I expect this to Tera right now into something defensive. Taunt is interesting, but I'm thinking Surging Strike's Calm Mind. Okay, I'm down. Whole switches, that's fine. Probably into Toxapex. Amoonguss is fine. Oh, that is a tech. Wow. Okay, didn't expect that, but that's totally fine by me. This is huge because this is where Taunt Urshifu is such a big deal. I get this Calm Mind off. I get a lot of damage onto your Grimmsnarl. Sucker Punch crit. That is spooky. That's one way to have a tech for Calyrex. Okay. Now I can just taunt into Amoonguss here and Calm Mind again. I'm just a little bit spooked out that they have Sucker Punch. I'm like, what if they have Foul Play as well? So I'm like, should I go for a Tera with the Calyrex just in case? Fairy Tera doesn't open up new weaknesses, which is why I'm thinking it's okay. It just means I'm not going to be able to Stellar Tera Urshifu, but I think that's fine. I'm just going to do it in case. Tera Calm Mind. Now the only thing I'm worried about is Mentor Amoonguss. I think if you're not Mentor, I am in such a winning position after this turn. Because I can just ignore the Amoonguss slot. Yeah, they try to Sucker again. Nice. That is not the tech I expected coming into this game at all, given how defensive their team looks. But now with Fairy Tera as well as Calyrex being very boosted, I think we should be in a phenomenal spot. Even if they're a Mentor, but it's not the end of the world because they have no offense right now. Beautiful. Yeah, that's why you run Taunt on this. So now we can just Surging Strikes you and Astro Barrage. And I think we can just snowball the game now. The main thing here is basically like kind of trying to ignore the Ho-Oh for a bit. It's probably Ursaluna coming in if I had to guess. Oh, okay. That's not going to be good for them. They didn't bring Ursaluna, so I think they can't win the game with the 4 that they brought. Because I just Astro Barrage everything now. Yeah, and it's like you got Light Screen up, but this is still a +2 Astro Barrage into Cresselia, right? Impressively, both Pokemon do survive. But now we eliminate Grimmsnarl. Great. I respect the Sucker Punch tech, though. I think that's actually a way to just, like, turn a losing matchup into a winning matchup if you catch your opponent off guard in a best-of-1 play. So I really, really like that choice by my opponent. But, yeah, I was never going to attack on turn 1, I think, in a matchup like this. Amoonguss comes out. Okay, this is still possible for them to win. If they have something crazy, I don't know, like normal Tera Cress. Because I think I'm fine just clicking Taunt into Amoonguss here. And Astro Barrage. Okay, Crush just switches. Nice. I was like, what are the odds that they're running normal Tera Cress? I don't think it's completely crazy, but... Nice. Yeah, like, look how much we still do even after the light screen. Taunt is what saved us in this one, though, right? Like, being able to just shut down Amoonguss is such a big deal, so... I would have won the previous game if I had Aqua Jet, but, like, Taunt is just more essential in a lot of matchups, in my opinion, whereas, like, yeah, even though we would have won that last game with Aqua Jet, I had more than enough tools to win where I didn't have to rely on Aqua Jet, right? So, you can just... I wonder what Tera Ho actually runs, but I'm fine just clicking Surging Strikes and Astro Barrage. Yeah, and they realize there's not much they can do. So, I expected this game to go on for a little bit longer, but essentially they spent 2 turns with Grimmsnarl not accomplishing anything, and Grim Amoonguss Cresselia is an incredibly defensive core that offers very little offensive potential. So, Calm Mind, Calyrex loves going up against something like that, right? Because I can just ignore you for a few turns, get a couple of boosts, and then really just start snowballing the game. So, yeah, Sucker Punch, really cool tech, like, can just completely obliterate Calyrexes that are not expecting it. But here, we are already a more defensive Calyrex, so I'm more inclined to click Calm Mind. And then, yeah, after, like, 2 turns of failed Sucker Punches, there's just really not much they could do. I can totally respect my opponent going for it, though, because it's like we not only had Calm Mind, Fairy Tera, we also had Taunt on the Urshifu, so the combination of that's just so hard for my opponent to deal with matchup-wise. So So I think it's actually really smart to try to just go for a second Sucker Punch there and say, okay, if my opponent overpredicts and messes up and I actually still get the knockout on a Calyrex, then I easily come back into this game. Whereas I think if I make the right plays in this battle, there's just no way for my opponent to win, essentially. So even though, you know, it might seem weird to go for a second Sucker Punch, I actually think that's absolutely the correct play, recognizing it's a really tough matchup already. All right, we've got Lugia here with Sableye, Comfey, Whimsicott, Urshifu, and Ceruledge. Yeah, we played against so many different restricteds today, but the fact that we got a Ho-Oh and Lugia in this episode is wild. I think that's super cool. I feel like Calm Mind Calyrex should give us a really good edge here. Sableye looks like it could be kind of annoying. We can use Clef to just redirect attacks away. Incin, probably not super valuable here. Banded Rillaboom's damage output actually looks like it could be interesting. Ursh is interesting if it can force Terra's out. I mean, it also has Taunt, which makes me a little bit more compelled, but I don't know. I'm kind of down just for Clef plus Calyrex, I think, for the lead. Because Sing can be really disruptive here. I like Raging Bolt in the back. And then I think I like Ursh here. Mainly because of Taunt. We did see one Lugia comp that looked pretty similar to this at one of the regional championships. The idea is you just try to keep Calm Minding with it. So it's interesting because, like, we also have Calyrex. Like, the thing is, can Calyrex snowball faster around the Lugia and kind of ignore Lugia until we get to a point where we just deal with it? Either way, it's going to be Lugia Sableye here, which is fine by me. Like, I think Sing will make a big difference here, and it's okay because I can miss a couple, but I'm down to just Calm Mind turn 1, Sing into Lugia. And I think the idea that I have in this matchup is basically ignore Lugia damage-wise and try to just pick up knockouts on everything around it until we get to an endgame where it's like 2v1 against Lugia. Here, I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent wants to just go for like a Tera with Lugia immediately. Yep. So forcing a Tera early is good. If this were open team sheet, like knowing what Tera was would be really valuable, since I think it almost always wants a Tera in front of Calyrex. It's going to be Fairy Tera. So we didn't have anything that could have taken advantage of this offensively anyway, so it's fine. Other than actually, I guess, Rillaboom. Yep, so Sableye goes for Light Screen. I would expect them to Calm Mind here. So yeah, the idea here is to just get more special attack boosts in a shorter period of time. Being able to Surging Strikes to crit Lugia is also a pretty big deal. So we'll see if Sing is able to connect. I don't think this first one is that important, but the quicker we put Lugia to sleep, the better. We are going to miss, though. That's fine. I'm going to Calm Mind again, and I'm just going to Sing again. Okay, Sableye reveals that it has Taunt, but that's fine. It's good to just force that out early. We'll Calm Mind up again. No Calm Mind as well. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to keep trading Calm Minds, essentially, which is okay with me for now. You can see how, like, if that first thing connects, it's so good for us, because then, like, they didn't taunt us on turn 1, right? The question is where I want to go from here. Because I could just send it Fairy Tera. I think I want to Calm Mind again for now. And bring out the Raging Bolt. Yeah. One approach in this game is, like, even if they get to +6 with Lugia, if I land a Sing onto it, I also have Focus Sash on the Urshifu, right? So then I can just go for, like, Terra Stellar Surging Strikes. Sableye goes for Will-O-Wisp, which is fine. One play my opponent, by the way, could have made is to go for Self Will-O-Wisp to prevent me from putting you to sleep, which I think is something I would actually consider in their shoes. But yeah, we're just, like, slowly stalling out Light Screen right now, which is good for us. And, like, once again, I'm happy to take this trade because I think I have more resources offensively than my opponent does, right? Calyrex, I think, overall just matches up a little bit better. They should be Light Clay here, but we're slowly stalling that out. Happy to Calm Mind again, and Electro Web now. Okay, Sableye finally goes for Taunt onto us. So we're gonna be denied Taunt here. They're just gonna Calm Mind again. So now it's time to start attacking, right? Because I obviously can't do anything else with Calyrex. It may have been worth, like, going for Calm Mind just last turn. Like, the turn they went for Will-O-Wisp, you know, that totally could have just been Calm Mind. Looks like it's Covert Cloak on Lugia, which isn't super surprising, but good to confirm that. Yeah, so I can switch back out into Clef right now. Or I can just attack and get rid of Sableye. I don't mind that. Astro Draco, get rid of Sableye. Okay, they just Will-O-Wisp us. Finally start dealing damage now. Nice. That actually just eliminates Sableye. I wasn't sure if we'd get the knockout with Light Screen, but now we're at +4. And they Earth Power it, which is fine. Bolt isn't that important in this matchup anyway, given that they're Covert Cloak. So that works for me. I can now bring out Clefairy. You can see how big of a difference that first thing hitting would have made, though, right? Because it would have just denied them so many free Calm Minds, and then I would have been able to just, like, probably knock out Sableye in turn 2 with Fairy Tera Helping Hand Draining Kiss. They bring Urshifu out. Okay. So I'm going to Astro Barrage here and follow me. Earth Power, Calm Mind, Aeroblast. Like, I'm curious if they have a recovering move. Also curious on the Urshifu set here. I would assume Focus Sash. Nope. Choice Scarf. Okay, that works for me. So Clef takes that pretty nicely. Good. Here's another Astro Barrage. That should eliminate the Urshifu. Nice. They're probably just going to Aeroblast us here. We get another special attack boost. Yep, Aeroblast comes out. And Clef fades, but that's fine. I'll take that trade as well. And Light Screen is slowly stalling out, right? Which is good for us. Taunt wears off as well. Now I get to bring out my Urshifu. And they bring out Comfy. Great. I guess the main interesting thing with Comfy is that it could go for Draining Kiss onto Urshifu right now, so I'll probably want to just protect Urshifu, I think, and Astro Barrage. 2 turns of Light Screen. They're at +4, +4. We're at +5, +3. Yeah, I don't mind Astro Barraging and Detecting here. And then we could Terra either of these. Terra Stellar just gives me a stronger initial Surging Strikes, which is good. But basically what I want to be careful about here is Lugia being faster than Urshifu, which it should be, and then they double up onto Ursh with Draining Kiss priority, as well as Aeroblast / Earth Power. Looks like they just opt for Floral Healing here, though. Okay. That's fine. We get Astro Barrage out. +5 Calyrex now. Nice. Knocks out Comfy. So that faints. And now we have Focus Sash Ursh in this endgame, as well as a +6 Calyrex. Yeah, and they Aeroblast and Urshifu. Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose the game to Draining Kiss plus Aeroblast into Ursh, because I think that was their best chance at winning this game. But this was my plan, right? It's like the Lugia team basically has mainly support around it. We're at +6, +3. They only have 1 turn of Light Screen left. So now I'm happy to just Astro Barrage, Stellar Tera, Surging Strikes. And with this, I think we just do enough damage to win the game this turn. And the speed order goes Calyrex, Lugia, Urshifu, but with Focus Sash, I don't think there's any way Lugia gets around this, basically. So So a lot about this team often is actually conserving Urshifu until the end game. And Stellar Tera is fantastic on it as well. So single target, Astral Barrage now. That does so much to Lugia. It turns out we're actually just faster with Urshifu anyway. Okay, cool. But since Lugia's space speed is higher, you want to respect it being faster. Yeah, perfect. So Lugia can get pretty spooky, but one of the main downfalls for it is that it can only target one Pokemon at a time when you're running Aeroblast and Earth Power. And so Calyrex's advantage here is that I'm able to match your boosts. I'm naturally faster. I can heal with Draining Kiss, and Astral Barrage means I'm slowly chipping away at you while also actually dealing significant damage to the slot that's next to you. And so in this game, I was totally happy to just take some trades against the Lugia because like Raging Bolt and Clefairy aren't really that important. So despite us missing that same, we were able to still win the game. And I think if we had just hit Sing on turn 1, we would have been in such amazing shape, because then I think the game just snowballs like super quickly afterwards, where I can just, like I said, go Fairy Tera, Helping Hand, Draining Kiss to knock out the Sableye the next turn, then you bring out Urshifu probably, and then I can just Astral Barrage, right, and then keep going from there. So yeah, either way though, really fun to go up against Lugia, and I think fortunately we had a lot of tools to deal with it, and it wasn't as scary, especially with it actually being slower than Urshifu in the end. But I had played this game assuming it was going to be faster, because I think that's a reasonable assumption, and we had covered for Lugia being faster as well. Alright, we've got a Zamazenta team here with Chien-Pao, Pelipper, Thundurus, Amoonguss, and Ditto. Pretty different from how a lot of people use Zamazenta. Zamazenta's won a couple of big tournaments this season. I've still been waiting to feature it, but it is a really consistent Pokemon just because Body Press just does so much damage across the board. So, we've got a couple of things to worry about in this matchup. Ditto being able to copy us, I think, is scary in itself. Urshifu with Taunt and Surging Strikes, I think, is going to be really important here. Thinking about something like Clef, Calyrex, Urshifu, Bolt. But I feel like we should probably want to bring in Incineroar for Chien-Pao. I'm mainly worried about the Thundurus, I think, on their team. Especially if it's like Eerie Impulse. Eerie Impulse Covert Cloak could be really nasty. Think about leading Ursh. Ursh Bolt seems kind of weird, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, I'm actually going to go Ursh Bolt. Calyrex. Clef. The idea behind Urshbolt is I just want to exert a lot of offensive pressure here without using my Calyrex in the early game. And with this, I have something like Surging Strikes, Draco Meteor immediately to try to get rid of something. That's the logic here. By not bringing Incineroar, though, I'm notably weaker to Chien-Pao, but they're going to go Pelipper Thundurus, which I'm pretty happy to see, I think. This feels really good for us, actually. Turn 1 is interesting, though. I'm actually thinking about Detecting and Electrowebbing. Yeah, I think it's like right now the Raging Bolt is in such a good spot, so I don't mind using this as an opportunity to just get some free damage and drop their speeds. Electroweb is also not the most common move on Raging Bolts these days, right? So I would be surprised to see them try to just Wide Guard here. Thunder Waving onto the Ursh slot makes some sense. But the logic here is Electroweb, and then next turn try to pick up a double knockout with Surging Strikes, Thunderbolt. Okay, they don't switch, or Terra. Wow, Peli does Wide Guard. Okay. Good foresight by them, honestly. As they try to Thunder Wave. Okay, makes sense. Great Wide Guard there, though. Yeah, I think a lot of people would try to just, like, Hurricane there. Or switch out Pelipper. So, nicely played by my opponent that turn. So we've got Calyrex Clef in the back. I'm thinking about Electrowebbing again, honestly, because now they're like, okay, well, you know I have Wide Guard. Surely you're going to cover for it, right? It's really tempting. But I think we probably just play safer and try to get the knockout onto Thundurus this turn. So I'll Thunderbolt. Yeah, I just honestly really didn't think my opponent would actually click Wide Guard here since so many Raging Bolts don't carry Electro Web. Right, you want like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Draco, Thunderclap, Protect. So, great Foresight by them. I'm going to see a Tera here. Interesting. Okay. I don't mind that. On Pelipper. Into ground, maybe? Yeah. That's fine by me since I'm not targeting you here, so we'll just eliminate Thundurus, which is good. Cool, they go for Eerie Impulse. That's actually huge as well, because it means that... Curious if Rocky Helmet Thundurus. Oh, that's so much damage, wow. Nice, and it's not Rocky Helmet, that's huge. Citrus? Beautiful. Excellent, so Thunderbolt now secures us the knockout. Perfect, and my opponent committed their Tera, so I'll take that turn gladly. We eliminate Thundurus. This is why it was really important to get rid of Thundurus, because Eerie Impulse and Taunt is a huge, huge pain for what I have in the back, which is Clefairy plus the Calyrex. Okay, Hurricane comes out. No confusion, which is good. Zamazenta now as a switch in makes a lot of sense to me. If it's Zama, what will I want to do? Oh, they actually bring out Ditto. Okay, I don't mind that too much. Should be Scarf Ditto. So I would assume they would want to lock into Electro Web right now. I'm happy to switch Ursh out into Clefairy. And just Draco into Ditto. I think that's okay. I'm also thinking about just damaging Pelipper right now. But I think it's fine to switch into Clef right now. And Draco. I mean, I think Zama should be their last one. So it's like a weird endgame for Calyrex, right? Because like they can just wide guard a lot, which is annoying. They also might not actually be Scarf on the Ditto, but that's one of the more common items. Otherwise, sometimes people run like safety goggles. Clef comes out. Okay, they just commit to T-Bolt. That's fine. That does 6 damage, yeah. We Draco in return. Almost gets the KO there. Nice. And they set up Tailwind, which I don't really care about right now. Tailwind, Wide Guard, Hurricane. I would assume Weather Ball is the 4th. No Protect would be a big deal. This should switch into Zamazenta, in my opinion. I'm down to Sing into this slot and Draco Meteor into it. Yep. They switch. Cool. If Sing connects here, that'd obviously be huge for us. Indeed, it is. Zamazenta's the last one. Cool. We get a defense boost, obviously. Yep, it is Weather Ball's the last one. Okay, so no Protect on the Pelipper. Oh, that's a really scary crit. Okay, I don't love that. Draco for minuscule damage here. Oh, that's a big Sing to miss. Unfortunate. Okay. Last turn of Rain, 2 turns of Tailwind. Two turns of Tailwind, so I can protect Clef here. I do think we want to break Pelipper's Focus Sash now. So protecting Draco just into Pelipper makes sense to me. Ah, man, I think if we'd connected on that Sing, we'd be in such a winning spot. So it's unfortunate to miss, but no better. There's nothing else we really could have gone for in that spot anyway. They're going to Iron Defense. Okay, that makes me wonder if you have Wide Guard or not. Weather Ball into Clef. Yep. Oh, had a Draco miss. They're not making it easy for us right now. I'll tell you that much. Rain stops. Last turn of Tailwind. I think I want to switch into Calyrex right now. And then Draco into Pelipper. It's just like playing around Wide Guard now that I think is really spooky, right? Okay. Yeah, they heavy slam into that slot. Takes less than half at least, which is good. Weather Ball, which we are immune to. There's Draco. Tailwind Peter's out now. So it's a question of, do you Wide Guard with either of these right now? If I Fairy Tera Draining Kiss, I become weak to Heavy Slam, which is really bad. I'm going to guess you don't have Wide Guard on this, personally. So I could see them Wide Guarding and then Heavy Slamming. So I think I want to Calm Mind here. Switch on a Clef. Let's see. Yep, they Wide Guard. Cool. The idea behind this is then next turn I go Fairy Tera Draining Kiss into their Zama, or sorry, into their Pelipper, and then follow me with Clef. This also works, okay? So now I get a free switch in back into Bolt. I could go into Ursh as well. Does Ursh make more sense to go into right now? Because I could Surging Strikes. I think Bolt is better. So you haven't set up Tailwind yet. So basically the idea is that like I should be able to pick up 2 knockouts in 2 turns right now. Like I'm thinking we Draining Kiss here, Draco Meteor here. Nice. Perfect. Yeah, Draco draining. You bring out... So as long as I don't miss Draco, I think we now win the game. Because now you bring out the Ditto, which copies Calyrex, and I just Thunderclap to finish that off. Nice. We connect. Huge. Okay. Good. We've seen Protect, Iron Defense, Body Press, and Heavy Slam on Zama, so there's no Wide Guard to worry about either. And we saw that Heavy Slam was less than 50% onto us. So I should be able to take another one. So it should just be Thunderclap, Astral Barrage twice right now for the win. There's no way -2 Thunderclap doesn't knock out the Ditto right now. My only fear is that they're not Choice Scarfed and they like Protect here. Wait, hold on. They actually do have the special defense boost. So I'm going to Terra here just to make sure I get the knockout. Yeah. Because I don't... There's no point in going for Terra with Calyrex because it just means Heavy Slam does more damage, right? So might as well just Terra Bolt to make sure we can get this KO to avoid anything crazy. Really intense game. I was a little bit scared because I think the Sing Draco double miss put me into a slightly tricky spot. But the good thing in this game was we were able to bait out the Terra from Pelipper, eliminate the Thundurus early, and then despite the threat of Wide Guard, still put Calyrex into a pretty good spot. Ground Terra was really annoying though, since this is triple electric type attack. Raging Bolt. Okay, here we go. There's Thunderclap. Nice. Finishes off Ditto. Perfect. And now I get a single target Astral Barrage onto Zamazenta. And it's a 3v1 at this point. But I could see us losing if they, like, crit the Calyrex here. Actually, oh, the engine just at body pressing anyway. Okay, cool. And we survived that as well. Nice. So just another Astro Barrage. We should just switch here to get rid of the drops. Not that it matters since Astro Barrage just KO Zama anyway, but yeah. I think this is one of the interesting things about like Pelipper and Zamazenta on the team, which is like both of these Pokemon like carrying Wide Guard. When you run the Iron Defense set on Zama, you normally give up Wide Guard for it since you want body press as well as Heavy Slam, and then not having Wide Guard allowed us to punish them fairly heavily as a result. So yeah. Spooky game because I think Thundurus actually has a really good matchup into a lot of this team, but that's exactly why I led the Urshifu plus the Raging Bolt just to put on a little bit more pressure against Thundurus early. My opponent had a brilliant Wide Guard on turn 1, but we were at least able to secure the knockout onto Thundurus on turn 2 and not even get Urshifu paralyzed along the way, which was pretty good. And yeah, I think if Sing had connected on Zama as it switched in, would have just put us in such a phenomenal position, but even despite the Sing and Draco miss, we were able to position Calyrex well and end up winning the game. I think one of the key turns in this game, especially being Zama protecting and Pelipper just trying to attack, we double up into that slot, and since so many Dittos are Choice Scarf, I figured, hey, we can get 2 knockouts very quickly right now, and Zama doesn't have enough firepower to beat the entire team, and that ended up being the case. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me. A huge thank you to Audi, and of course congratulations to him for finishing top 4 at LA Regionals, and Calyrex Shadow Rider is not going anywhere, folks. A lot of people were saying that this Pokemon was really overrated after the first major tournament of the season since it wasn't in the top 8, but I think it's still really good, and of course Calyrex Shadow Rider ended up winning the LA Regional Championships as well. And so really fun to feature this bulky set with Clefairy as well. Even though Clefairy missed most of the things that we went for in this episode, it's still really valuable for support, and having that Friend Guard and Follow Me is just an awesome combination. So yeah, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.